Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ascend to Joy with Christine Elward. Today, I'm going to talk to you about why we would want to forgive and how we're going to forgive. I had talked about this as a tool for the revolution of love, because there is a kind of a requirement of love to be able to send that energy of love out unconditionally, not indiscriminately, but unconditionally. There's a difference. And in order to do that, we have to resolve those areas in us that are being held captive by resentment or unforgiveness or revenge. You know, any of those things where we have been imprisoned by the belief that if we hold up these walls, that we are somehow keeping ourselves safe or, bringing about justice, any number of things, any number of reasons that we think that staying in a place of unforgiveness is a good idea. And I'm going to tell you from my personal experience that I don't have any area where unforgiveness has been helpful. And I can tell you in most every area that unforgiveness has been harmful to me. So the first reason that we might want to consider the concept of forgiveness is for our own freedom. And because we love ourselves enough that we don't want to be locked into a space where the potential of possibilities are blocked. And second of all, because we have a desire to step into this place of divinity that does not see separation from the other. So that's why to forgive. Now, how do we forgive? And I'm going to go to the most extreme example that I have in my own life. And any of you that have read my book, Ascend to Joy, Transform Your Life Through Living Kabbalah, may think that the most extreme example would be forgiving my childhood abuser. But it's not. The most extreme example was of an incident that happened when one of my daughters was 7 years old. And we were serving in a church, my husband and I, as youth ministers, and we were living in a place that was about ministering to young people and, creating a lot of joy there. And we were living with some other youth ministers. And through a series of very difficult circumstances, I discovered that one of the youth ministers, whom we'd actually taken into our home several years previously, was sexually abusing my young daughter. And any of you that have children even those of you that don't, know that that seems to be something that is absolutely unforgivable. I can tell you that it was in that moment that I began to understand how someone could kill another person. Because in that moment, I wanted him dead. And I'm not proud of that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just being completely transparent. So why would I want to forgive that individual? Well, it was actually a very selfish motive because I'm a recovering addict. I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. And one of the things that can endanger a program of recovery is to hold on to resentment, hatred, vengeance, because that energy in a person's life is only sustainable in small doses. And so it leads us back to using. And in my particular case, I had been in sobriety and I'd had many, many, many years of clean recovery. And yet, the rage that I experienced during that time was beyond anything I had ever felt. And I knew in my heart of hearts, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there. I'd worked so hard to get to where I was. And once again, I was allowing an abuser to have control over me, over my life. And so I looked at that concept of forgiveness. And I have to say that at that point in my development, I didn't think I was capable. I didn't think that was going to be possible. And so I had to really, really examine how I was going to get through this urge to anesthetize, to escape this horrible state of being. And although I was not in a place to want to forgive, I knew that I wanted to want to forgive so that I could stay clean and sober. And so my prayer became for the willingness to forgive, because I had to take a step back, because the thought of forgiveness seemed so far beyond anything I was capable of. So I prayed for the willingness to forgive. And 11 and a half months, almost to the day later, I woke up with the inexplicable grace of knowing I had stepped over the line and was now willing to forgive. I never thought that would happen, ever. But it did. I continued to put that energy out there. Please give me the willingness to forgive. And I had the willingness to forgive. I knew the steps of actual forgiveness because I'd had to do it many times before. So I made a decision. I made a decision to forgive, to let go, to the point where I would be able to say, you do not owe me anything, and I do not owe you anything. And we are both set free. Did that happen in a day? Absolutely not. It was something I worked on diligently. But I started with that decision. I'm making a decision to forgive without reservation. Now, that doesn't mean that I was going to forget. That's not something you forget. And it doesn't mean that I ever wanted to be in that person's presence again. But it also, what it did mean was that if I did encounter that individual at some point, I would not have to return to that murderous rage. I would be faced with my pain, because even as I'm speaking to you right now, I can feel some pain, some sorrow, some sadness. But so much has transformed since then. So much. Not only did I not use, but I think I stepped into a new place of freedom. A new sense of realizing how really strong I am. And you know what? You are too. People that you have in your life that you have not let go of, that you're hanging on to their energy through your resentment, your anger, your rage, whatever it may be. I guarantee you, you will be so much better without it. And don't forget to forgive yourself, because that's often the one that we forget to forgive, and we hold ourselves hostage with our anger and our disappointment and our resentment towards ourselves. We're all learning. We're all learning. And you are stronger and more magnificent than you can ever imagine. So take that next step. Make a list of those people that you have resentment towards, rage, anger, and let them go. Make a decision to work on letting go and getting to a point where you can say, you do not owe me anything, and I do not owe you anything. And we are both free to love. And I love you.